Hello everybody and welcome to the Football Philosophy channel, and this is the player in focus after the 2-1 win at Fulham. Not a lot of time for me to do a poll on Twitter and then wait for that to finish and then start looking at the particular player. So sometimes I don't even do a player in focus during the week, but I said on the ratings show that I would do a player in focus on Anthony Martial. A lot of people saying that he's not playing up to his potential at the moment and maybe should be playing better. He got played out on the left wing at Liverpool, and he was on the left wing again the other night, and he does a perfectly good job there. One of the things I'm going to mention, I'll come to it during this show, is something that Jermaine Jenner said during commentary, which was really interesting, I thought, and that clip will be one of the clips that I'm showing. But before I start, I just want to remind people of a couple of things. First of all, the Johan Cruyff quote that I often use about playing football being simple, but playing simple football is the hardest thing there is. And I think what the great Johan Cruyff meant when he said that is that people overcomplicate the game and they don't realise how important it is to take good touches and pass it well. And you can have a good game. I've got my new ratings there in front of me, and I gave Anthony Martial a 7, and a 7 just means that he had a good game or he played well. Nothing over the top, but doesn't need destroying for his performance either. And I'm hoping from these clips, I've picked out a couple of the poor bits. There's poor bits for everybody. But I've picked out a couple of the poor bits, but also plenty of good bits. So I'll start with the first clip number 1. Just a dead simple thing. I've put this in really just to show you. I think sometimes if you like a player or you don't like a player, you sometimes get frustrated when a move breaks down, and I think a lot of people sometimes forget why the move broke down. And really early in the game, 5 minutes, he comes short to Fred, receives it. He always takes a touch, nearly always, is a moment to take a touch, is a moment not to. Takes a touch, it just draws players a little bit closer to you, and he just turns a little bit at an angle and gives it to Paul Pogba, and it opens the angle up for Paul to be able to look for a pass. And Paul tries to play the ball into Cavani's feet, and he misses Cavani by a good couple of yards. He's really on the stretch, Cavani, trying to get it and doesn't get it. And it's a sloppy pass by Paul Pogba. And it's nothing fantastic, but it's simple football. I've just spoken about that saying about simple football being the hardest thing there is. And it's really nice play by Anthony Martial, as simple as it is. And then the move breaks down by Paul Pogba giving a really simple pass that he doesn't execute properly, and that's why it breaks down. And I wouldn't mind betting that some people just don't even realise at times why the move has broken down. Clip number 2. It's not a witch hunt against Paul, by the way. I thought Paul had a great game. This is literally on there because it's 2 minutes later, and it's just another incident. Paul actually gives a sloppy pass on this occasion that they intercept, and then Martial does a little bit of work and ends up blocking their fullback there. But could they get the ball back after Paul gives that pass? There's a couple of passes, and Martial hunts the ball down and blocks the fullback from getting out, and they get a throw-in out of it. But it's just to show that twice, it's all in the first few minutes, this, the moves have broken down with a different player, and Martial's done well on one occasion, and is also the player who's prevented them from getting out on the second occasion that it goes wrong. Clip number 3. He tries a cross with the outside of his boot. It's just a little bit too low. It gets headed out by the near centre-back, the closest centre-back. Cavani is waiting just beyond that centre-back, and it was worth the effort. But if the ball comes back out of the box, and what Martial does then, he turns and chases the loose ball, and he's got it under control. He keeps his body between himself and the defender, and just turns and lays the ball back into the midfield area, and United keep the pressure on. It's about making those correct decisions when you've got your back to a defender, whether to turn, whether to pass it, and United recycle it. Again, nothing fantastic, perfectly simple football, but that's the way to play. Clip number 4 leads to the goal. You'll see right at the start of the clip, you'll see Anthony Martial trying to run down the left. He looks like he's going to make a burst forward for Shaw, perhaps to play a ball over the top or maybe inside the full back. But Martial realises it's not on and checks back quickly, and then Shaw's closed up the gap towards between Shaw and Martial. So Shaw gives it to Martial's feet, and Martial keeps his body between, he's brilliant at it, keeps his body between the defender and the ball, and he lays the ball back into Shaw's path with his right foot. Shaw carries on down the line. At the same time, the defender comes through. You might need to watch it a couple of times. He might have a little bit of luck with his layoff, Anthony Martial, I'm not sure, but it's definitely what he's trying to do. He's definitely trying to get the ball and release Shaw so that he can carry on down the line. And the defender takes his standing leg, and it looks like a pretty heavy challenge on his standing leg. Obviously, the cameraman follows the ball, but it looks like he's getting, he's struggling to, not struggling to get back to his feet, but getting up pretty gingerly. I think it did hurt him. But anyway, the ball goes forward. It ends up with Bruno having a shot. It hits the post, comes out of the box. Fred makes a challenge. The ball goes up in the air, and I think Martial's probably been just getting himself together, but he's got up. I'm sure we'd have had some players. It was an heavy challenge on his standing foot. Could have been a dangerous challenge. I'm sure we'd have had some players still down, but it's Martial who actually wins the ball. It's Fred who makes the tackle, but the ball isn't won back at that stage. It balloons up into the air, and Martial nods it down, either to Fred or Bruno, and there's an interchange between Fred and Bruno. Bruno manages to cross it, and Cavani scores. So he's involved twice in the move for the goal, Anthony Martial, and both of them are really good. The header's good. It's also winning the ball back at the same time as feeding that ball to one of our players, and his layoff to Shaw, which got the move going, was also excellent. Clip number 5 is he's having a run in behind. He checks back, gets the ball, and he lays it back to Shaw again. Dead easy, but he gets these moments right all the time. Well, not all the time, he gets them right so often. And it's just a lovely one-touch layoff back into Shaw's path. Loads of players take that touch when it's not the right time, or they pass it back maybe a bit too quick, and he just gives it back to Shaw, and it ends up with Bruno having a shot, and the keeper's forced into a save, and it goes out for a throw-in. Everybody will remember the shot by Bruno, I'm sure, and the shot that it gets saved, and everybody remembers the goal scorers, and they remember all the bits that are surrounding the goal. But the people who are involved in the build-up to these situations are completely overlooked. And this little layoff by Martial to Shaw doesn't look anything fantastic, but believe me, we have got players who, when that ball's laid into the feet, they've got it in their mind that they want to get it under control, they want to turn it. I'm not saying they get it wrong every time, but Martial gets it right more times than others do. And he just does the right thing. It goes back to Shaw, and we end up forcing a save from the keeper. Martial can also shoot well from outside the box. He could probably do what the shooters are doing, but some of the shooters wouldn't really do what Martial is doing, getting the decisions right that are leading to these situations. Clip number 6. There's a cross from the right, I think from Wan-Bissaka. I'm sure it's from Wan-Bissaka and Martial. It's great when you've got a winger. You need wingers to be able to come into the box and to lend their assistance to the centre forward. If you're playing with wingers, if the ball's on one side, it's no good just having your striker in the box. Maybe your number 10 can make the box. You need the winger on the other side coming into the box. Martial comes in. He's decent in the air. It's a fantastic leap that he makes, and the defender that is against him does well. Gets up in front of Martial, and the ball clips off him, and it goes out for a corner. So he wins a corner from his header. Now when we've got Marcus on the wing, or even Greenwood on the other side, they're not as good in the air. They're not as useful in the air, and they're not as smart in the box. Like we've signed Cavani now, who's so smart in the box. But the next smartest player in the box, without a doubt, is Anthony Martial. He was our smartest player in the box up until signing Cavani. And it's handy that you've got two players now. That I'm not saying Martial's as smart as Cavani in the box, but he is pretty smart and he knows when he's got to get in there and winning a corner like that. We wouldn't have won that corner, I don't think, with any of our other wingers playing on the wing. And Martial comes in and it's an handy string to his bow. Clip number 7. This clip is more on there for the commentary. It is on there for the commentary and only really on there for the commentary. But it's ironic that it does start with the ball coming to Martial. He knows there's a man coming up, but he's just inside his own half. He's facing across the field because the ball's on the other side, and he turns back and he gives the ball to Shaw. I think it's to Luke Shaw as the ball comes to him. It's the right decision again. It's just that his decision making is so good. He just turns, gives it to Shaw, starts making his way forward and wide, gets it again. Again, it's really tight there when he gets it, so he just gives it back to Maguire, nice and simple. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever. But at this moment, and this is why this is on there, there's nothing special about that, but it is simple football again. And the commentator at this moment, and you can hear it on the clip, says Ollie probably wants to get more out of his wingers. And Jermaine Jenas was the co-commentator, and I've never heard such intelligent commentary from a commentator or a co-commentator. I don't think he agreed. Now, if you think about what the commentator has said, that is something that probably 95%, certainly the 95% of United fans that I see on Twitter, probably 95% of United fans would agree with the commentator. Ole needs to get, he actually names them, he needs to get more out of his wide players, said the commentator, from Greenwood and Martial. And Jermaine Jenas paused for a moment and he said, it's a difficult one, that. He said it's important that they maintain their discipline and hold the position and occupy the players that are playing against them. He went on for quite a while, Jermaine Jenas, and it's there on the clip, you can hear it. And everything he says is absolutely bang on. By holding the positions and by keeping other players occupied, it makes space for others. He even says you can't expect them to run all over the place to try and get involved in the game. You can't be on the wing and thinking to yourself, and he actually says this, you can't think that you're not getting enough touches, so you've got to move around the field to try and get more touches. You need to maintain your discipline, and he says that twice. It is quite a long piece. He says you need to maintain your discipline. Don't start thinking you've got to get enough touches and start getting different positions on the field. You need to keep that width and keep players occupied. And he names Cavani and he names Bruno and says that these players will get more space if you do your job correctly. And in a roundabout way, as near as you like for me, Jermaine Jenas is sort of pointing out, he doesn't say these words, but he's sort of pointing out that you can play well, this is what I'm saying, by doing all the simple things right and not necessarily getting involved in the actual play that often. You do need to have proper width in your team and intelligent players doing the right thing when they get it, recycling the ball amongst their teammates and not giving it away, occupying players on the field. And then whenever you do get that moment, Jermaine Jenas also says you need to remain patient. You know, if you keep doing the right thing, you've got to hope that a chance will come your way. So I think that clip's on there just to hear what Jermaine Jenas says, and he's absolutely spot on. And he's basically pointing out that our wide players weren't playing that badly at all, and there wasn't much else they could be doing. I would say that Mason's just not quite as good a player as Anthony Martial. It's as simple as that. Mason was doing fine, but if there's one thing doing fine, then there's another one that, like some of these clips show, having that little bit of nous, that little bit of ingenuity that just creates spaces for other people. And Anthony Martial's got it in abundance. Clip number 8. He's in the box again, going for a header. Again, the ball goes down the right. Again, I think it's Wan-Bissaka. Martial comes in, and again he's challenging at the back post. This time doesn't win the header as such, but by challenging somebody, they can't clear it properly. And I think Cavani thinks the ball's going to go further back, and he goes past. Martial's more or less in front of the goal or near the back post. Cavani goes further back towards the other side of the box. So Martial, once he's been up for the header, is now in the middle of the box, and Cavani's more to the left. So it's brilliant when you've got a winger who can do this. He is decent in the air. So he stays in the middle of the box, and Cavani stays more or less in an inside left position, only for a moment, because the ball is being recycled again, and we're immediately on the attack again. So there's no real reason for Anthony Martial to say, you can't sort of say, hang on a minute, let me get in my position, I should be on the left wing. He's in the middle of the box. It's worth his chances staying in the middle of the box to see what happens next as that attack builds. And sure enough, Luke Shaw crosses one, and Martial gets on the end of it again and heads it just over maybe a yard over the bar, but he wins the header again. And this is what we need. We need another player, not just your centre forward, who can get in that box and win some headers. So this is 3 headers that he's challenged for in the penalty area, which I don't think some of our other wingers would have challenged for any of them. He's won 1 corner. He's forced, he's not allowed him to clear it once. He's certainly made a decent physical challenge, and then on this 3rd one, he's made decent contact with the ball, but headed it over the bar. So that's it's looking like a good combination. There's 2 combinations developing there. I think Martial's got a great combination with Luke Shaw already moving down the left, but I think we've got an intelligent number 9 and an intelligent number 11 who are reading each other's games as well. I really do believe that. Clip number 9. This just shows this tight, close control as he's running forward with the ball, and the camera angle comes low down, and it shows you what he's up against. There's 3 defenders there. It's like a forest. It's like a forest of people. He's got no chance of getting through it, but he keeps his head up, Anthony Martial, when he's got the ball. Again, some of our other players wouldn't have picked it out, but he just picks out Fred on the edge of the box. Again, good decision. Shouldn't really be running at all those players there. The likely outcome is you're going to lose it, and he just picks out Fred, and Fred loses it instead. Clip number 10. This is the first poor bit. There's 2 or 3 poor bits, of course. There's no need to put them all up. There's not lots and lots of really bad bits. There isn't, but there's as many bad bits as there is for any other player. Probably no less and probably no more. Maybe Cavani did a few less poor things. You can see what he's thinking on this one anyway. He's got Shaw running out down the left with about 35 yards from the dead ball line. He tries to play a ball inside the fullback for Shaw to run around and onto the ball, but he overhits it. Shaw's never going to get it, and it is a poor. It's not a bad idea, but it's a poor attempt at the ball, and I don't think it was ever on really. Clip number 11. This is a lovely piece of play. This the ball comes to him from Pogba. It's a really tight area, and he's about 2 or 3 yards in from the touchline, and Pogba's even closer to the touchline. And just as it comes to him, he uses the outside of his right foot just to nudge it into Pogba's path. But at the same time, he's got Tete on him. I think that Tete looks a fair player, by the way. Really awkward customer. But he leans into Tete, and he leans into him deliberately. He's protecting the ball at the moment that he protects the ball, but he's also protecting Pogba. He's just holding it only for a split second, but it's just enough. He leans into Tete, rolls it to Pogba. Tete can't get through Martial to challenge Pogba, and he can't get to the ball, so Pogba carries on down the line. Anthony turns, he starts racing down the line, he gets the ball back, and it's a bouncing ball, but he controls it nicely into his own path and passes it to Pogba again. They defended brilliantly. Sometimes you've got to give the opposition credit for what they did, and the move soon broke down, but it was a really good move, and it was a brilliant piece of play between Anthony Martial and Paul Pogba. And clip number 12, just another, don't forget, keeping it simple, doing the right thing, making the right decisions, recycling the ball, keeping the pressure on the opposition. This is what you want. This is Luke Shaw to Marshall. As soon as he gets it, and by the time he's turned, there's two men right on him, really tight, and he just turns back, gives it to Luke Shaw again, and it's recycled. We don't lose the ball, and we keep the pressure on. That's clip number 12. This is clip number 13. Starts with a little bit of team shape. We've got men behind the ball. Martial is in the left back spot, and he's helping to keep the team shape and helping to force them back and then force them sideways, not allowing them to come forward. And they end up giving the ball away to us. Just back, I've said this lots of times, and a lot of people go, oh, I've heard people say to me, what do you mean just being there? Anybody can just be there. Believe it or believe it not, some people are not there where they're supposed to be on a football pitch. So the team shape's good, forces them back, forces them into a mistake, and then suddenly they can spring forward. It comes to Anthony on the left wing, just inside his own half, and he runs forward with the ball. He dribbles it really well. It might be just inside their half, but it's around the halfway line. Dribbles it really well. He always keeps it close to his feet, really good close control, but he plays with his head up. And as he's running forward with the ball, he spots Cavani free in the inside right position, must be 20 odd yards away, and with his left foot, which isn't his strongest foot, while players are running around him trying to get the ball off him, he plays a great ball across the pitch. A lot of people watching the game won't realise what a good ball it is. So many players, some of our players, they run with the ball at the feet, especially with people trying to get it off them, and they're looking at the ball. They're looking at their own feet, wondering what they're going to do next. Anthony's got his head up, keeps it tight to his feet anyway, and he puts a great ball to Cavani. And I've let it run on, and you will almost score from that in the end, which wouldn't have happened if we had a different player playing on the left wing. It would not have happened, and it ends up with the move where Cavani ends up with an header at the keeper, and the keeper makes a good save. Number 14 is just another simple clip again with two men on him. Again, he does the right thing. He just rolls a lovely little gentle pass to Luke Shaw. Good decision making. Don't forget, playing simple football is the hardest thing there is, and this is so simple that people don't realise it's any good. He just rolls it 2 yards to Luke Shaw with two men on him, and two men on Martial, and Luke Shaw's got the space to put the ball in the box, and he puts just a slightly over it cross into the box. Clip number 15, again, just simple. Bruno wins the ball in the middle of the field, just pokes it to Martial, who's facing across the field, but he takes a touch to turn towards their goal. He's running towards the goal, just a few strides, and Bruno's now run outside him. He gives it to Bruno. Bruno gives it to Shaw, and I think Shaw on this occasion could do a little bit better. And again, there's a chance there, a chance that could have come along if Luke Shaw would have done a bit better. And don't get me wrong, Luke Shaw's having a good spell. He's playing, I like him anyway, but he's playing really well. But it's another move that breaks down, and a lot of people won't realise that Anthony Marshall's had a good part in that move and really helped to set the play up. And then it's somebody else who doesn't actually get the ball in, who could maybe have done a little bit better. And then clip number 16 is the second poor bit that I've put these two poor bits because they're both particularly poor, I think, as opposed to, maybe there's a difference between maybe you should have done a bit better or you was unlucky compared to this is particularly poor. So again, I think this is particularly poor. He's in the inside left channel near the edge of the box. Luke Shaw and Bruno are around the ball. I can't remember whether Bruno gives it to Shaw or vice versa. But it's a similar type of ball that Marshall played earlier for Luke Shaw, angled in towards the box, except on this occasion Marshall's already in position rather than running into position. And they play that ball there, whether it's Shaw, I think it's Luke Shaw that plays it, it might be Bruno. But the ball's played into that area, and Marshall's on his heels, and he doesn't realise the situations there that could have been a dangerous situation, and he doesn't get hold of the ball, and he should do better. So that there are a couple of poor clips, but as I've said, a lot of people saying he's not playing well. He doesn't do any more poor things than anybody else, and he does a lot more good things than most. A lot more good things, and also the simplicity of his game. Playing football is simple, but playing simple football is the hardest thing there is, as said Mr. Johan Cruyff. And Anthony Martial is a prince of playing the simple game, and we need more players like him, not less players. That's that on Anthony Martial against Fulham. He had a proper decent game. He had a good game. He had a slightly different role to play, except although I should say he was in the same position against Liverpool last week. Trent Alexander's obviously a really dangerous customer. It's fascinating this weekend to see what Ollie's going to do against Liverpool. He will realise what a good job Martial did against Trent Alexander, and I think he's going to want to play in there again. But Marcus was on the bench at weekend. There will be a bit of there might even be a public outcry if Marcus doesn't play again. Yet Cavani played so well at Fulham. He's pushing for a start, and it might be a bit silly, I think, to leave Martial out from that position. I think Marcus wouldn't do anywhere near as well against Trent Alexander as Anthony Martial did last week. So we'll see what Ollie does. I can't wait for it. Look forward to that game. If you've enjoyed that show, please subscribe. Please tell all your friends. If you didn't enjoy it, don't tell anybody. Keep stum.